Hey everybody, welcome to Tom's Tips, the express version of our podcast, Mental Health Matters with St. Louis Counseling. Check us out at stlouiscounseling.org and remember to spell out Saint, so stlouiscounseling.org. So today on this episode of Tom Tips, we want to talk about, every month we have those special days, those special holidays that help us remind of special things going on in our world, whether it be Mental Health Awareness Month in May or Mental Health Awareness Day in October, things such as that, right? And so in November, we have Loosen Up, Lighten Up Day, right? Which we thought what an interesting little way we could tie into mental health. So, it's a fun sounding day, right? But it does imply we might be wound a little too tight. Maybe we're a little rigid when you think about that, because we've heard those comments of lighten up, loosen up. I remember my high school English teacher said one time somebody told him to lighten up, and he went home and started a diet. That's a dad joke, right? I remember that from high school. What a great guy. But that fun sounding day, it means we're supposed to go out and have fun. So the reality is this: why is it difficult? All right. Why is it difficult to have a lighten up, loosen up day? Well, it suggests that it's easy for us to flip the switch. Like if we're of type A personality where we're very task focused and getting things done right away, it means we can just flip that switch and all of a sudden we can loosen up, right? Doesn't work that way. It's very difficult. It's a very cognitive process because we're wired in a certain way, right? And sometimes that's habits. Sometimes that's just organically how we are wired from day one and the experiences we've had over life. But it is not that easy to flip that switch. Let me give you an example, right? Driving, right? And there's a lot of things sometimes when we're driving, we're supposed to be aware all the time, right? But the reality is there's like habits in there. The turn signal is a habit, right? Now, for some, they don't use a turn signal out there, which is a whole different stressor, right? But for those of us that do use a turn signal, a lot of times I don't even think about that. I know I want to turn left, boom, my hand goes down and hits the turn signal, the blinker's on, right? And so the reality is for me then to all of a sudden say, I don't want to use my turn signal anymore. I'm not going to do that. That takes a conscious effort. It takes practice. It takes changing habit. Or for those of you that were formed in driving school and not to use your turn signal, and I want you to use your turn signal, I want you to remember that every time you come up to a turn. It is a hard process to accomplish. So that's why it's difficult just to change a habit, just to change the way we're wired. So when we talk about lighten up, loosen up day, it's not that easy, right? But it is important, all right? So one, how to do it, right? Pre-plan that day, right? So maybe it's the actual day in November, right? Or maybe it's just a day you're going to pick out randomly. But you're probably the type of person that needs a plan, that likes to follow a plan. So make this no different. If you need to have this day to lighten up, to loosen up a little bit, know that you want to pick that day out ahead of time and get things done ahead of time. That way you can actually enjoy your day. So then you ask yourself, what am I going to do on this day, right? So what do you enjoy? What gives you peace of mind? What's something that you want to try? Or maybe it's something that you want to redo where you had a pleasurable experience. Do you want to do this by yourself? Do you want to do this with others? What gives you the most relaxation? For some, it's being by yourself, right? But for some, nobody wants to be by themselves, right? That's the way you think. So you want to pick something where you can be active and social. Just depends on who you are in that individual. Now, you're probably going to have to talk yourself into letting go, right? You're going to have to talk yourself into loosening up. So you need to prep your mind ahead of time for that, because that day we want you to block out the work, right? The stressors that you're taking away for that day. So you gotta change your mindset, and ultimately it might help you in the long run. All right, but you got to start thinking like, okay, Friday I'm taking the day off at work. I've got everything planned. I'm going to let go. I'm going to let go, and you kind of push yourself to be able to do that on that day. You can't judge yourself against others, right? Just the way you relax is completely different. The way you would let go, the way you would loosen up, right, is totally different than how somebody else would. Don't judge yourself, or don't allow them to judge the way you relax. Maybe you like knitting, maybe you like crocheting, and your coworkers are like, "No, man, you need to go out and party." No, don't worry about that. Don't put those issues upon yourself. Be comfortable with yourself in that regard. Bottom line is relax, right? So that day when you're in these activities, do your best to not let those intrusive thoughts from work, from those other stressors that you've decided to block out that day, don't let them come in. So make sure whatever it is, and if you need that plan out your day. Why is this important, right? Why is this important? It's because you need to recharge yourself, right? It is important for you to have that stress reliever. Day in and day out, we're all held to obligations. We're all held to different standards. And sometimes we got to take care of ourselves, right? And maybe it's one day a month, one day a year, but something you look forward to because it gives us that recharging moments, right? And sometimes it's an afternoon, to be honest with you. Sometimes it's 30 minutes. Whatever we can work into our lives, this can be accomplished, right? This is also a relationship builder on a couple levels. One, maybe you're doing this with somebody to reconnect with. It allows you to experience some joy, some laughter, some relaxation together. It recharges the relationship. It also allows others to see you in a different light, right? And so sometimes that's important for our kids and children that are around us to see us in a different light, to be a little R&R, a little rest and relaxation, right? And then they look at us in a different way, and they can remember those moments. You know, those are memory builders as well, too. So not just the relationship with yourself is important in regards to self-care, but it's also the ones around us and even the example we're setting forth for others. So I hope this helps a little bit. So on Loosen Up, Lighten Up Day, you know, yeah, it's fun. Do it, but take some thoughts into planning on how to do that. And it doesn't just have to be this one day in November. It can be any day you choose. So until next time, Tom Duff, St. Louis Counseling. And remember, mental health matters.